Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's feeling well. If I don't see you before Christmas, have Merry Christmas to you. This is the City of South Fulton virtual special call meeting, Tuesday, December 21st, 2021 at 4 p.m. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. The Honorable William Bill Edwards, Mayor.
Here.
The Honorable Catherine F. Rowell, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gumbs, District 2.
Present.
The Honorable Helen Z. Willis, District 3.
Present.
The Honorable Naima Gilliard, District 4.
Present.
The Honorable Corey A. Reeves, District 5.
Accounted for.
The Honorable Councilmember Khalid, District 6.
Present.
And the Honorable Mark Baker, District 7.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Before we call the first agenda item, Mr. Clerk, let me read something to everybody that I think is very, very good. We worked long and hard to achieve it. And it simply states, congratulations to the City of South Fulton for being awarded the qualified local government status. I think it goes along for us. It's from the community, from Georgia Community Affairs, and will help us in terms of our fair housing. We had an issue with it. We had to put in a extension letter, but it's here. You've passed it, and good luck to you on it. Okay. All right, Mr. Clerk. First agenda item.
First agenda item is number 1. Request of council approval of an ordinance declaring a state of emergency in the City of South Fulton, providing for city meetings to be held virtually, providing for an effective date, and for other purposes. The legal department has placed this on the agenda at the request of the council.
Legal.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Catherine Vernay, staff attorney. This item is on the agenda because it is required in order for us to continue to meet virtually, especially next month with the work session, that it must be in a state of emergency to meet the Open Meetings Act requirements.
This is a request for approval. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve this measure. Second.
Been properly moved to second. Discussion.
I have discussion.
Go right ahead, Cleve.
Thank you. The ordinance states that all meetings of any board, commission, authority, or city council shall continue to be held by virtual means. And that's for the next 30 days. Is that correct, Madam Attorney?
Yes, that is correct.
So passing this means that none of our meetings will be in person for the next 30 days. Is that correct?
We can choose to reconvene at any point, but it will cover us for 30 days.
Okay. So that would also include our city's inauguration. Is that correct?
Yes, would be a regular meeting. Yes.
So that would be now virtual. And our January 4th swearing in, which is also effectively a public meeting, will also now be virtual. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Council, did you hear him?
You may choose to host a meeting in person. However, that ordinance is there to protect you should you want to host a meeting virtually because of the pandemic. So you do get the choice. Again, that's just there legally because the only way we can host a virtual meeting is if we are in the state of emergency, and we can only do that by the ordinance that's in front of you.
Okay, so thank you. So I just want to be clear first that not a single vaccinated person in the entire United States has died from the Omicron variant. Not a single person. Actually, only one person, vaccinated or unvaccinated, has died. There's a guy in Texas, he was 51. He was unvaccinated and had pre-existing health condition. I mention this because I think that this is an overreaction, and I would also hate to cancel our inauguration or our swearing in. I certainly don't think that would be fair to our council members elect, as everyone sitting on the dais at this time all got to attend their inaugurations. I do understand that we can make, you're now saying that we can pick and choose when we're going to have an emergency and only meet virtually. I would contend, however, if it is too dangerous for us to hold a work session, it's probably too dangerous for 50 or 60 people to crowd into a break room on January 4th, or for people to meet at the Southwest Art Center. So I just want to see us be consistent with how we're doing this policy, if those are things that we are really concerned about. And I'm fine if there are things that we are really concerned about. I have been in conversation with the county manager, Dick Anderson, and some members of the county commission, and they have graciously agreed to allow us Wolf Creek if we pass this emergency ordinance, and we think that we should not be in enclosed spaces. They have allowed us to use Wolf Creek January 8th for our planned inauguration. The weather is going to be, well, the forecast is 61 degrees, which is, not as warm as I would like, but no more uncomfortable than when we had our graduations in summer at Wolf Creek. So that is a possibility. I would say that if we are going to enact this ordinance, and if this is truly a concern, that we also consider not traveling for those next 30 days. I know that the Georgia Municipal Association City Summit is going to be inside a hotel. I've been to a couple of GMA meetings, and most of the people don't wear masks. And I also would ask that we consider closing City Hall for the first 2 weeks of the year. If this infection rate is something that we really are concerned about, we know that lots of people are going home and traveling. We want to make sure that they all have a couple of weeks to sit at home and be tested and be COVID clear, if this is a concern. Again, 73% of the new infections are this Omicron variant, which have killed absolutely no one who is vaccinated. But I do just want us to have a consistent policy and not just be picking and choosing, well, we're going to do some things and then not some other things. And we're going to travel and go to conferences, but we're not going to allow our constituents to come to our council meetings. So I just wanted to put that on council's mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid. Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
So this is where I really draw the line. And that is where we are consistently going back and forth about things that we have discussed in detail until 2 o'clock in the morning, specifically. There were two things that we took into account when we, as a council, already voted and decided to start in-person meetings on the 25th. And that is the space, the availability of our space, and also the virus. I take my guidance.
Ms. Willis, we can't hear you. Ms. Gilliard, you need to mute your microphone. Ms. Willis, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Go ahead.
Hear me. Also, we have already taken the inauguration care of, and staff does a very good job of taking COVID guidelines into consideration, and they have always taken COVID guidelines into consideration. I would suggest that we let staff do their job. We have empowered them to do their job at the last council meeting, so I'm not not really sure why we're going back and forth. This measure was put on here to allow us, if we should choose to do virtual a meeting, which we decide we were going to do virtual council meetings until the 25th, unless something changed per CDC recommendations and guidelines, and the city manager would bring this council a recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willis. Councilmember Rowell, you're up.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody, this is like our ninth time passing. It's probably, it's emergency, or like the attorney said, it's just to cover us. And I think we all recognize and are working towards in-person meetings as discussed at our last meeting. I don't think it was ever, an attempt, as mentioned, to make the inauguration or any other activity virtual. It's all a preparation for us to move towards in-person by the January 25th meeting. That's what we talked about. And so I think we're mixing two different things. One, we have to do it by law to even allow for a virtual meeting. So again, it just covers us, but I think we're all working towards moving back to in-person with the appropriate health protocols in place.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Councilmember Reeves. I'm sorry. No, that's right. Councilmember Reeves, you on, then Councilmember Gumbs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Jones, to our city manager, I would just like for you to add clarity, because to my understanding that this going back into virtual meetings will cover the meeting that we have scheduled for January the 11th. And then as we move toward going back to the in-person meeting on January the 25th. And could you just provide the clarity for that and for the constituents?
Yes, sir. So, I think our staff attorney, Ms. Vernay, said it best. As you mentioned, it covers us to do the January the 11th. And I'm sorry, I don't have my dates right here in front of me, but if I'm not mistaken, January 11th is our work session, our first work session in January. We had agreed at the last meeting, this council, you all, if I'm not mistaken, you voted on it, that you were going to do that virtually, and that we would do the first in-person meeting on January 25th at the Southwest Arts Center. And as has been mentioned before, we will continue to monitor the CDC guidelines and follow science. And if we feel like that we are in a situation where we need to make a different recommendation to this council, we will. But right now, the staff and myself, we were making preparations to go into in-person on January 25th.
Correct. And at this stage right now, as it stands, the inauguration and all other activities around that is still on as planned, correct?
That they are still on as planned. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Reeves. We will have Councilmember Gumbs, and we will close out with Councilmember Willis.
Yes, I was calling for the previous question.
Second.
Been properly moved on the call of the question. Any discussion?
I have discussion.
Let me just check something. Mr. Clerk, is there discussion on the call of the question? Mr. Clerk?
I was muted. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to defer to the city attorney, but I believe a call for the question is not debatable.
I think you're right. I just want to make sure. Madam Attorney, are you okay with that? Or do you opine on that? Because I just want to make sure before I answer this vote.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Chair. It is not debatable, and the vote will be 2/3.
There you go. I thought so. Let's vote, please.
The roll call vote to call the question. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard. Councilmember Gilliard. Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Abstain?
Councilmember Baker.
Alright.
That was yes.
I'm ready. I'm sorry I wasn't ready a few minutes ago.
I was trying to get Councilmember Baker's. It wasn't
Oh,
clear.
I'm sorry.
All right, great. Thank you. And Councilmember Gilliard?
I abstain because I really don't think that we need to be going back to in-person meetings.
Okay, Mr. Mayor and council members, that passes 5-2.
Okay, before we go on, Ms. Gilliard, that's not an appropriate way to abstain, but we will log in as your rationale. Let me say this.
Excuse me.
Let me say this. Excuse me. Let me say this. That today, the National Hockey League shut down. There's talk of the NFL.
Point of order, Mayor. We called the previous question. That ends debate, period. We need to vote.
I'm just making a comment.
That ends all of that discussion and debate.
I'm making a comment, Mr. Willis. Allow me the latitude I allow you. We've already took the vote. Am I right, Mr. Clerk?
Yeah, we're back to the main motion to
Right.
approve.
I said I asked for a moment before, and I just wanted to make that statement because I think that the attorney said it eloquently. You still have the right to do what you want to do. We just as a protection for yourself. Okay. Let me.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I have to ask you a question.
Point of order. We called the previous
Next
question, Mayor.
The previous question has been passed. Am I correct, Mr. Clerk? Mr. Clerk?
Yes, the motion to call the previous question is passed, and we're
Right.
back to the main motion.
Right. All right. Let's take a vote on the main motion.
The main motion was a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Willis, seconded by Councilmember Gumbs to approve the ordinance as presented. A roll call, Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Abstain because I don't think that we should be going back in person, period.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
I am abstaining because I think we're using an unconstitutional ordinance to stop a work session, not because we're concerned about Omicron, because we're still having 2 swearing-in ceremonies. We're just using it because we are not ready after 22 months of being virtual to have in-person meetings. We're just not ready.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk?
Councilmember Baker. That item was approved.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 2. This is second reading and requests approval of an ordinance providing for the selection of an ethics panel, providing for compensation of panel members and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Council Members Reeves, Mayor Pro Tem Willis, Councilmember Rowell, and Councilmember Gumbs.
Any council member want to speak on this?
I just want
I'll
to
speak on it.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I
This
just want to
partic-
just go ahead,
Do
Dr.
this. Let's do this. Mr. Reeves, I heard you first. Go right ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that this is in conjunction with new rules and new ethics that we will be moving forward in, and it's a comprehensive ordinance that we should be all guided by, and it's in depth.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Councilwoman Rowell, did you want to add?
Really quickly and make sure that we are in line with our charter and as incorporated under House Bill 1019. So it brings everything into compliance.
Okay, Mr. Khalid?
Yes, I just had a question, preferably for the attorney, but I guess any of the authors could answer as well. I know last month we introduced an ordinance to amend the charter concerning removal hearings. So just as a matter of civil procedure, I'm wondering, how does this ethics panel comport with that ordinance? Where does the jurisdiction of the ethics panel end and the jurisdiction of the Superior Court begin in the incident that we pass that ordinance, that charter change.
Legal,
To answer again, if somebody believes that there's an ethical violation, it goes before the ethics panel. If they find that that's legitimate, I guess that would be documentation that could be used if in fact they wanted to escalate it beyond just a decision of the ethics panel.
So it is the purview of the complainant to escalate it beyond the ethics panel and not the ethics panel itself.
It's not the ethics panel itself. As noted in the charter, any resident can bring any, address any of those issues. So it's not the ethics panel's job to do that.
So then, just to be clear, if the ethics panel suggests removal, but the complainant does not want to go that far, it is the complainant's prerogative not to proceed.
Again, any resident of the city could escalate if they so desired. But the charter is really clear on that. So they could take the information from the ethics panel. I guess it's supporting documentation for their action, but it doesn't mean that it has to escalate to that level. And I don't think everything that comes before the ethics panel will rise to the occasion of a removal.
Okay.
We've seen that before. Some of them have been minor infractions. So,
Madam City Attorney, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, that is my understanding. If a complainant brings it forward, the ethics board has to see it through, but the decision comes from the ethics board based on the initial complaint that comes forward.
But the decision to escalate remains with the complainant and not the ethics board.
The ethics board makes a recommendation, so it initiates with the complaint, but the ethics board makes their investigation and does the recommendation. That's my understanding.
Okay.
all right. Are you finished, Ms. Cleve?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, I don't see any other hands. Let's vote, please. Is there a motion on the floor?
We do not have a motion on the floor yet.
Let's get a motion.
I move that we approve this measure.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rowell.
yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Abstain, 1019 conflicts me.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
No.
Councilmember Baker.
Nay.
That item is approved.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 3. This is request approval of an intergovernmental agreement between Fulton County and the City of South Fulton for the provision of 911 emergency communication services effective October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, with 3 automatic renewals commencing on October 1 of each successive year, ending September 30th, 2024, with an annual subsidy of $1,650,000. This is police and fire. I placed this on the agenda.
Police, you have any comments?
Yes, this is pretty much the standing agreement that we've had in place with Fulton County to provide E911 service for the last 4 years.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Councilwoman Gilliard, I see. Let me just, before you go on, let me entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the IGA with Fulton County for radio units.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Ms. Gilliard, you're in discussion.
Chief Meadows,
Yes.
the 1.6 million, is that what your budget is now?
It has been 1.9 million in the past, but we've been trying to chip away at that number over the years to try to wean our way, ourselves away from the E911 services.
And so will So for you have some savings every year then. And I would assume, and where I'm trying to go with this is, I remember you some time ago when we met over the budget, and you talked about us as a city having our own 911 service. So where are we in terms of that plan right now?
Well, as I said, we've been taking baby steps to get there. We recently signed on to get our own reporting management system and our own CAD system, which helps to reduce that number significantly. When we talk about starting our own 911 service, it's going to be close to a $20 million investment. But as it stands right now, we're generating about $3.8 million in E911 fees from cellular service per year. So when you think about that, in addition to the $1.6 million that we're spending, that's a little over $5 million. So it would appear that an investment in an E911 center would be warranted, given the amount of revenue that we generate as a city, and how much money, or how much we're spending in the way of tax dollars. And so I suspect that it would save us a great deal of money in the long term.
Okay, and that $3 million a year, that revenue is going to the county, correct? Is that correct?
It's currently going to the county, right? We see absolutely none of that money. If I remember correctly, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, that figure was $324,000 per month, and that comes to just a little over $3.8 million and some change, if I remember correctly. And then I suspect that number has gone up since my first inquiry about it, simply because every a dollar out of every cellular device is contributed to E911 service. And with our increase in population, I'm certain that we've had an increase in our revenue generated as well.
So, thank you so much. So really, my next question is to finance, in terms of why aren't we getting that money from Fulton County? So that's my next question, Mayor Edwards.
Finance? City Manager?
Mayor, this is Karen Slate Dixon, Mayor Council. I'll look into that and definitely follow up with the response to that question for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gilliard.
If I may.
Yes, go. You want to say one other thing, Chief?
The way the state law is structured, whoever provides the E911 service is entitled to those cellular funds. So while we generate the funds as a city, we're not entitled to them because we don't have our own facility.
I see.
I think that answered that, Ms. Gilliard.
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
Mayor, point of order is that I need to make a correction. I did a motion to approve the radio, but we're speaking about the E911 services. So I want to make that change. Rescind my motion and then do another.
Mr. Clerk, you duly note that? Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you duly note that.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make
now, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the IGA with Fulton County for E911 services.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Mr. Baker, I do see your hand up, Dr. Baker. Go right ahead. And we'll go after you.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, will we be making an assessment before October 1 every year as opposed to just automatically renewing, especially given that we're understanding that it's a $20 million investment, but in 4 years or 5 years, it seems as if it's an investment that we may be in a better position to take on. So will we be making an assessment annually prior to October 1 and renewing automatically?
Chief Meadows?
I would hope so. Councilman Baker brings up a really good point. I think that as we move forward, if we continue to chip away at that number, I believe that it's in our best interest to reevaluate where we are. We're constantly getting feedback from Motorola on what that investment would look like for us in the city of South Fulton. And we're not opposed to creating a partnership with some of our other southern cities, which would help us absorb some of that cost as opposed to the city of South Fulton just eating the entire 20 million.
Okay, Dr. Baker?
Received, thanks.
All right, let's vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, we have a motion by Councilmember Gumbs, seconded by Councilmember Rowell. Roll call vote, Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved unanimously.
Next item, please.
Next item is item 4. Request approval of an intergovernmental agreement between Fulton County and the City of South Fulton for the provision of digital 800 megahertz radio system access from October 1, 2021 through September 30th, 2022, with 3 automatic renewals commencing October 1st of each successive year in the amount of $263,410 annually for the year 2021 and 2022, and $279,030 annually for 2023 and 2024. This is sponsored by Police, Fire, and Information Technology.
I move that we approve the intergovernmental agreement between Fulton County.
Second.
Properly moved in second, discussion. Hearing or seeing none, let's vote, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rowell. Councilmember Rowell. Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved.
Okay, next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is item 5. This is second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance as amended for the purpose of amending the regulations for gasoline stations and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Councilmember Rowell.
Councilmember Rowell. Councilmember Rowell, can you hear us? I can't hear. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve this measure.
Is there discussion?
Wait a minute, let's get the second first. Who's the second?
Second.
Properly moved in second. Now there's a discussion. I see Ms. Willis, and then I see Ms. Gilliard.
Yeah, so my question is, and I guess it would be to the attorney. We had a lengthy discussion regarding this ordinance at the last council meeting, and there were 2 competing ordinances, and I just want to make sure that Councilmember Gilliard's, because it was discussed that we were going to include her edits into this ordinance so that we can unify the ordinances. One of the concerns were, I think it was a distance, and she will probably be able to speak to that. So I just want to make sure that whatever she was recommended that we include in this ordinance, and also that we heard some feedback from the community, it was combined and included in this ordinance.
Okay, Ms. Gilliard?
No, that was a question that I was posing to the attorney.
Okay, attorney? Ms. Williams, the reason why I was calling Ms. Gilliard, because I think there's some compromise that has been made. But let's get the attorney.
I think Mr. McClendon is on and is available to answer that question.
Mr. McClendon? This has been a rough zone, Mr. Clerk.
Try here.
Hey. Mr. McClendon, we can't hear you.
My apologies. This is Assistant City Attorney Reginald McClendon. I don't believe I could. I hope y'all can hear me now.
Yes.
The amendment as proposed by Councilmember Gilliard has been presented to the clerk's office, and so that language has been included. I'm not sure exactly which version has been uploaded into the system that you all are looking at, but the amendment has been sent to the clerk's office.
Okay, Miss Willis.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you?
Okay, Miss Gilliard.
This has been a long haul, but I am really happy to report that we went back to, or at least I went back to the consultant. This consultant put the proper language in it. And initially, there was a difference between miles between Councilwoman Rowell and I. I accepted the mileage that she brought forth. And then finally, the consultant said, well, now the attorney can, do whatever the attorney has to do with it. And Mr. McClendon did that. And so now it includes what Councilwoman Rowell wanted and what I wanted to include, especially because the community was pushing for it. And so was I. We both were pushing for the same thing. So now it includes that. And I'm sitting here looking at it. And if the clerk does not have the final copy, I would be happy to send it to him.
Yes. Councilman Gilliard, I do have the amendment to section 302.15, and I'll read that into the record at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, great compromise, Ms. Gilliard. Ms. Adams, you want to read that into the record?
Yes, I have received the revision as announced by Attorney McClendon. Section 302.15, gas station, is amended to read letter A, when located on Fulton Industrial Boulevard, a gas station shall have frontage on the roadway. Letter B, gas stations shall be separated by a minimum of 3 miles from other gas stations. Separation distance shall be measured in a straight line from the property line of said stations. And letter C, gas stations shall not be located within 1,000 feet of residential uses and or mixed use districts that include residential development.
Okay. Ms. Rowell, are you back now? Dr. Rowell.
Yes, I am.
Okay. I see your hand.
Okay. Are you acknowledging me at this time?
I'm acknowledging you at this time.
Okay. Yes, I think the amendments as reflected, I just want to make it clear though, in terms of the general gas station provisions, they apply to all gas stations.
Okay.
That would require a special use permit, period. It's no exclusion, just for those on FIB.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Let's vote, please.
Yes, roll call vote to approve with the amendment. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved unanimously.
Okay, next item, please, sir.
Next item is item 6, second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance as amended and the subdivision regulations of South Fulton, Georgia as amended for the purpose of amending the regulations for the Cedar Grove Overlay District and the Cedar Grove Agricultural Overlay District to establish regulations for said district and for the lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Community Development and Regulatory Affairs Department.
I move that we hold this measure.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Discussion.
I have
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have.
with all due respect, to Councilwoman Gilliard, and I do have great respect for you. I think that this is probably fine the way that it is, but I have repeatedly stated my grave concerns that in this period of transition, this council is making binding decisions for the 2022 council before they've even been sworn in. And so I am only agreeing to hold this so that the council person elect for District 4 has a chance to look at it. I'm certain that it will probably pass untouched, but I do think that we should respect the will of the voters in this transition period.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Khalid. I'm looking at Mayor Pro Tem Helen Willis, then Ms. Gilliard.
So when we are elected and sworn in, we are elected and sworn in to serve a full term. Our term does not end and when we are elected until December 31st at the end of the 4th year that we serve. And so we are duly elected to make decisions. And I do understand that we have newly elected people coming in. However, the current sitting elected officials has the right to make decisions as duly elected officials until the end of their term. Now, I have heard an outcry from the community, and I have spoken to the new incoming elected official. My decision is based on the community saying they need more time to vet this and they want to be more involved in the decision making concerning the overlay. It has nothing to do about me not wanting to make a decision for the incoming elected official, because we are duly elected, sworn in to serve until the end of our term. And so I motion to move to hold this, because inclusive of Councilmember Gilliard, I'm sure that she still will be a staple in her community, and she will work along with the community members and the new incumbent elected official to get this overlay to the desired place they would like it to be for this full council to vote on when we commence next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willis. Councilwoman Gilliard.
Two things. The first thing is that when it came up, Councilwoman Willis made her statement, Councilman Khalid made his statement. I had my hand raised, so I was the next person, but Councilwoman Willis went before me, and that really should not have happened. I just want to make that statement. And I want to move on to this.
Ms. Gilliard.
I want to move on to this.
Okay,
what I move on to is that I sat with the former director, zoning administrator for our city, and for months we went through changing or revising the overlays for the district, and I had a wide support for the agricultural and for the regular Cedar Grove district. Now, some of the people that might have wanted to have been in it were not. Now, that is true. But nevertheless, we came up with a document, and we came up with it in August and September. And this is really key, Mayor Edwards. Up to this very minute, the director of the department never discussed it with me. The first time I saw an ordinance making a change, it went to the planning commission. No input from me, no discussion with me about it at all. It wasn't until I was able to talk to the consultant who said, well, all of the overlays are, because my concern was they're all watered down. They all seem like the character of every district is the same, because all of that was taken out. And he said, well, we're using a use-based zoning plan, and that's why everything relates to the charts, chart 2 and chart 4, and that's why it is that way. So as you know, Mayor Edwards, you were the commissioner when the citizens came together and developed those overlays. So now those overlays that they developed, and many of them are still here, were just thrown out, and now it's all watered down. So what we have on the agenda today is what the director and the consultant came up with as it relates to the overlays, which are in no way includes anything that I presented. And so this is something that I don't support because it's not what the people asked for. And so the only reason why I can agree to not even deal with it and wait until after January, because then I will be a citizen and then I will deal with it then.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gilliard. Let's vote, please.
That's just the motion to hold this item by Mayor Pro Tem Willis, seconded by Councilmember Reeves. The roll call vote, Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was held unanimously.
Okay, next item, sir.
Next item is item 7, second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of creating a new section 514 entitled Red Oak Community Overlay District to establish overlay regulations for said district, to enact by reference and incorporation a map establishing the boundaries of said district, and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I am pleased that we finally are here. We finally have a Red Oak overlay that is in alignment with our Red Oak Historic District that we are working towards in the Red Oak Historic community. We have been speaking to bring this in existence since 2017. I want to thank the CDRA staff for working with me and the community to bring this into fruition. I have shared this information with my community, and I don't have any opposition to this overlay. We're just glad to see an overlay so that we can bring some type of uniformity and some type of in syncness with the aesthetics in the future to the Roosevelt Highway Red Oak Historic District. At this time, I would like to move to approve this measure.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Willis, I read it. It really sounds good. And if you compare it to the other overlays, you will see that it has some distinction in it that others don't have. So maybe later on that can be a model for other overlays, because much of the character of the other overlays was taken out.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gilliard. Hearing no further discussion, let's vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
So it's going to be a roll call vote to approve. This was sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Willis, seconded by Councilmember Gumbs. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker. This item was approved unanimously.
Okay. Next item, sir.
Next item is item 8. This is a second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending the section regulating the standards of review for proposed special uses and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by the Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve this measure.
Second.
Properly moved and second discussion. Hearing nor seeing anything, let's vote, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
Thank you. That item is approved 6-0.
Next item, please.
Next item is item 9, second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending the regulations for principal buildings in the AG1 zoning district and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, can we have, if you don't mind, can they speak to this so
If you
we can?
like, yes. Yes, they can.
Thank you.
Regulatory Affairs. Who's representing Regulatory Affairs?
Ms. Jackson?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, council members. So right now, the ordinance doesn't have a minimum heated floor area for the AG1 district, so the ordinance just adds that provision in there.
What is it?
Oh, so for 2-story homes, the minimum heated floor area is 1,800 square feet total, and 2,000. The minimum is 2,000 square feet total and 1,800 on the ground level, and then for single-story homes, it's 1,200 square feet.
Okay. Any further questions, Mayor Pro Tem?
No, thank you. I move that we approve this measure.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. I see a discussion. Ms. Gilliard, go right ahead.
Yeah, why is one story so small? Why is it 1,200 square feet? How was that number determined?
So we actually borrowed the minimum heated floor area from the R1 zoning district, since the R1 and AG1 would tend to have similar building footprints and similar development standards, I guess you could say. And we wanted it to be something that was accessible, but that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah, because that's real small. But anyway, okay, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes, I just wanted to ask the planning staff, is this in line with what other cities are doing in regards to this change that you are making or you all are proposing?
Yes, it is. Most other jurisdictions have a minimum heated floor area for AG1.
And it is at that minimum square footage?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Seeing no others, let's vote, please.
So roll call vote to approve. Mayor Pro Tem, motion by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember Rowell. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
No.
Councilmember Reeves.
Nay.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
There it is, Dr. Baker.
Aye.
Aye. He said aye. Okay. That was approved 5-2.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 10, second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending and clarifying the principal use table with regard to outdoor recreational courts and for other lawful purposes. Sponsored by Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I move that we approve this measure.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Discussion. Seeing or hearing none, let's vote, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Nay.
Councilmember Khalid.
No.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye. Aye.
That approved 5-2.
Okay, next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is item 11. Second reading, request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending the section regulating the standards of review for the proposed special uses and for the lawful purposes. This is sponsored by Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve this measure.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Discussion. Hearing or seeing none, Mr. Adams, roll call vote.
Roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
No.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved 6-1.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 12. Second reading, request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending the boundaries of the Fulton Industrial Business District overlay and for other lawful purposes. Sponsored by Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance to incorporate the boundaries of the Fulton Industrial District overlay.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Discussion. Let's vote, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved unanimously.
All right. Next item, please.
Next item is item 13, second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending the Fulton Industrial Business District overlay to add landscaping requirements and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by the Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance to incorporate landscaping requirements for the Fulton Industrial Business District overlay.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, let's vote, please.
Roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was approved unanimously.
Next item.
Next item is item 14, second reading and request approval of an ordinance to amend the City of South Fulton zoning ordinance for the purpose of amending the regulation of special events and for other lawful purposes. This is sponsored by the Community Development and Regulatory Affairs.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve this measure. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I move that we approve this measure.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion?
I have discussion.
Go ahead, Mr. Khalid.
This is for the CDRA representative online. The ordinance cross-references multiple things in our code. Would you mind just explaining for me and the public what the effect of these changes are?
So right now we have two sections in our updated zoning code. One of them is special event requirements for events that have 250 people or less. And another one is a special event requirement for events that have 250 people or more. And so they kind of like overlap each other a lot. And there's also other city policies and ordinances and things that reference special events and special event permits. And so the goal here is to take the requirements for special event permits out of the zoning ordinance, and then the other city ordinances and requirements will kind of take over from there so that we don't have conflicting ordinances in multiple locations.
So the rules now for something becoming a special event will be the same regardless of the number of persons. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I think you were talking to Marissa.
Councilmember Khalid, this is Assistant City Attorney McClendon. That is correct as of now. However, there is a rewrite process for the special event code that is being undertaken by the law department as well as CDRA, in which the mayor and council will have the opportunity to chime in on the new regulations that will be put in place for special events.
And when do you expect that to be finished?
That is a question that I cannot answer right now. It was being worked on with the former director of CDRA, being that position is currently vacant. We'll have to regroup when new leadership is put in place.
And so for the time being and indefinitely, regardless of the number of special events, regardless of the number of attendees, we will have one set of rules for special events.
That is correct.
And I'm sorry, just because it's very confusing. What are those rules?
Councilmember Khalid, under the there's a section in the code under Title 17, Streets, Sidewalks, and Rights of Way and Other Public Places, that is actually entitled Special Events. And that code section is what regulates special events currently. There's also a chapter called Assemblages in Public Places, which contains some regulations. And in the event that a special event is to take place within a city park, there is a code section under the parks regulations that will maintain those, that will regulate those events. So those are the current regulations that we will be going by, that were already in place in addition to the regulations that were in the zoning code. But this is a measure that we're going to try to alleviate some of those conflicts.
So if someone wants to have a special event in the park, they still go to the parks. And if someone wants to have a special event anywhere outside of the parks, they would go through CDRA.
That is correct.
All right. I would ask, I'm not ready to vote on this now because I still am not clear what the rules are, but whether it passes or not, could I ask for you to bring back at the next work session or meeting just a one sheet that explains the process by which people apply for events? I wouldn't want people to have to search through our Muni code in multiple sections to try and figure out what the steps are. If we could just, is that something you think you could produce, like maybe a flow chart of this is how you apply and these are all the things that you need and these are all the basic requirements?
Yes, Mayor-elect, I can certainly work with CDRA and we can put something together for you for the next work session.
Awesome, thank you.
Sir?
Yes, sir. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Willis, seconded by Councilmember Gumbs to approve. It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Rowell. Councilmember Rowell. Councilmember.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Gumbs. Councilmember Gumbs?
Oh, my apologies. I was on mute. Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Willis?
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard?
No.
Councilmember Reeves? Councilmember Reeves? Councilmember Khalid?
No.
Councilmember Baker?
Nay.
That item is 3-3.
Late.
Councilmember Reeves registered a vote of nay, so that item fails.
Okay. Mr. Clerk.
Next item is item.
So, Mayor,
please.
Mayor, before we move on with that item failing, does that mean we still have conflicting language in our zoning ordinance on what a special event would be?
Clearly it does. I mean, if it is
Okay.
has to straighten it out, that's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, go ahead.
The next item is executive session.
Do we need the executive session?
I don't have the heart. No.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I second.
Before everyone leaves, are y'all there?
Yes.
I just want to say, as I take my leave and exit the stage, that it's been a privilege to work with the administrations and the elected officials in this city for the last 4 years. We have come from zero to where we are today. So let me thank the people of South Fulton who elected me for 4 years for your support and for your ability to bring me here and confidence that you had in me. To the employees of this great city, you have been the concrete, the cement that have held us together in good times and bad times. And we've always tried to make your experience as a member of this city a pleasant one. And I personally, as your outgoing mayor, personally respect all that you have done and all that you continue to do, because it hasn't been about me or the council. Your job has simply been about this city. And I simply applaud you for that. For the city manager and other city managers that we've had over the years who hung in there. You see, South Fulton has always been a city about resilience. We've been very, very resilient. Thank you so much for standing in the gap and holding things together steadily so that we can end this part of our careers the way we are doing it today. To the city council, you guys have been phenomenal. It hasn't always been good, but I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I love you guys, that a lot of you have become my friends. A lot of you become my close associates in terms of municipal government. And we've always tried to work together to make sure that things happen. So thanks to everybody, and especially to the Chief Jones and to our police chief. Thank you guys for being who you are. Thank you for while we were doing the things that we need to do to stand up this municipal government, you were steadily taking care of our people. You were protecting and you were protecting and serving their right to have a quality of life that they need to have. I want to thank both of you guys and the people that you represent. And I hope that somewhere down the line in the last 4 years, I've touched somebody's heart, that I've made life better for somebody in my 4 years here at this city. So once again, I love you guys. I take my leave. God bless you all. God bless your families. God bless these people who live in this great city of South Fulton, because you deserve the best. And in this city council that's coming up, I personally believe that you have the best. And Merry Christmas and good luck to you all. Ms. Gilliard?
Yes, I kind of sort of want to piggyback and say a couple of other things as well. This has really been a journey, especially since I've never worked in government, and government really operates quite differently because politics always gets in the way. And not being a politician, it has really been difficult. I've really learned a lot. And one of the things that I've really learned more than anything is how to be diplomatic and not say what I really want to say. But anyway, we have a city of people, 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. But we have a city of people that have hope and really want us to do our best. And they are growing in terms of keeping up with everything that's going on. And that's really what they should do, because cities that end up having quality development, that's what they do. Someone took me on a trip to Alpharetta, and I saw all these, the Alpharetta and Forsyth County, and I saw all these developments, excellent quality developments, and even the residential, the mixed use, the commercial, whatever. And I did not see one warehouse anywhere next to anything residential or commercial. So I want the people to know that there are things that they're going to have to fight for. They're going to have to stand up for, because in those cities where you have the quality development, the developers know better than to bring A, anything people don't want, and B, something that is not in the best interest of the people. So as of January the 1st, I'll be out of jail. I won't be on probation, but I will be free. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I thank everybody for hanging in there, particularly the citizens in District 4. They have really been phenomenal in terms of not just supporting the district, but supporting the city. So Happy New Year, Merry Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, and all of that. And take care.
I see Ms. Ms. Willis's hand, and then we'll.
Yes, I want to tell you, Mayor Edwards, it was a pleasure serving under your leadership as your Mayor Pro Tem. That makes it even more special that I got to serve as your Mayor Pro Tem while you were in leadership. Of course, the charter does not allow any council member to serve consecutively as Mayor Pro Tem. So at the first council meeting in January, which will be the January 25th, this council will have to come to consensus to elect a new Mayor Pro Tem for 2022. And we will do that. I know that this is not goodbye, Mayor Edwards. You will still be around. You are a statesman in our community, a staple in our community. You help bring the city online, and you have done a lot in your leadership role as the mayor-elect. You have collaborated. It was never an I for you. It was always team. I've never heard you say, my vision. You have always said our vision. You understood the form of government that we had, and you worked with council members to make sure that we got things that we needed in our district. And I continue to look forward to working with you as a staple in the community. You still have the relationships, you still have the knowledge, and we still would need your wisdom and your guidance to lead us through as we go through our, a lot of us young politicians, as we go through our political years. like my grandmother always said, you can learn from a baby, and don't hesitate to check us that are willing to listen to you when you feel like we have done something wrong, and give us the guidance to lead us in the right direction. There would have been no one else who could have helped us transition from the county and bring us where we have come. I am looking forward to working with my new colleagues in a collaborative spirit, not in a dictatorship spirit, but in a collaborative spirit, in line with the form of government we have. And what this city and residents want to see is us working together, not fighting each other, and they want us to check our egos at the door. Thank you so much again, Councilmember Gilliard, for your contributions with cityhood. You and Mayor Ellis worked to bring the city online and to fruition. You are both considered founding fathers of the city, along with I and Councilmember Rowell. And so I just wish the best of luck of you. I know you will not be going anywhere. You will be a staple in your district, and you will continue to help us progress the city forward. Good luck to you both, and I'll see you around.
Thank you.
And I do want to say thank you, Mayor Edwards, for your support, your guidance, and your leadership. And thank you for being a political mentor and the time that I have been here, and for the lessons that you have shown me that I will be taking forward, not just in elected positions, but through life. And I really appreciate you for that. And thank you, Councilwoman Gilliard, for your 4 years of great service to this city.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Have a good affair this afternoon up at St. James Live, and God bless you all.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Properly moved in second. Let's vote.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Gumbs.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. And Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
We adjourned at 5:17 p.m. Have a good holiday.
Same to you.
You as well.
And thanks, everyone. Thanks, Miss. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, all.
Thank you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry
Same to you.
Christmas.